Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth and final evening with the filmmakers from the main competition at the 17th online edition of Animateka International Animated Film Festival. I'm Igor Prassel, the program director, and I'm live from the Animateka studio in Šiška, Ljubljana, Slovenia. And this conversation, as all of them before, it will be co-hosted by my very good friend and colleague, Chris Robinson, that is joining us from his chalet studio in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
How is it
Very nice
going?
to be here.
Nice to have you, like always. So I hope you're ready with some great philosophical
and in-depth
questions. Super. We have 4 authors with us tonight for this final debate. So it's good because we have enough time. We can do it easily. With us, Benjamin Schwiczinsky with the film Coming Home, representing Austria. Hello, Benjamin. Also with us, representing Georgia, the producer of the film Abandoned Village, Mariam Kandelaki. Hello, Maryam. With us, joining us from Zagreb, Croatia, Marko Tadić with the film Events Meant to be Forgotten. And last but not least, from Sofia, joining us from Sofia, Bulgaria, Petja Zlateva with the film Tasks of the Day. We'll start with Benjamin. So we go to Vienna. And as with everybody, I will just read the biographies of yours first. So Benjamin Schwiczinsky, born 1982, has studied animation at the Film Academy Baden-Württemberg since 2006. He worked as a TV editor and since 1995 has been active in animation. In 2010, he founded the group Neue Österreichische Trickfilm. Is everything correct, Benjamin? Yeah, please put the mic on. Okay, now we hear you.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
I couldn't say it better.
I'm sure there are more things that you did in the meantime or that you are doing, but
key elements are spot on.
Okay. So your film coming home. I would dare to say that your film is a revisionist take on history, where you are putting things right and finally give back to the Native Americans what they have been taken away with violence during the century. Was the idea for the film a direct reaction to some Trumpism, some Trump slogans like "We will make America great again" and similar ones, or where did you had this initial idea to make this revisionist historical film?
Yeah, the first impulse for this idea came when Barack Obama came into power, because there was this euphoric feeling that now they're going to do everything right and delete all their mistakes and really everything. And if they have to do everything right, they have actually to leave the country. And the second one was then with the rise of Donald Trump and all the populists in Europe and or around the world. And also this, I think, stupid discussion about sending people to their country of origin with migration background, this word migration background. So when your grandfather is from somewhere else, you have to go there. And actually in the US, most of the people have, or I think nearly everybody has migration background. And my family is mixed up too. My father is from Poland, my mother from Austria and far back, then also from Croatia and Czech Republic. And I just wanted to make this kind of caricature of racism, about the stupid idea that everybody belongs to some certain place, and then if he's not there anymore, he has to go back there, even if he isn't born there. So that was kind of the basic idea.
Chris?
This theme of reconciliation, it's a big issue over here in North America and in Canada in particular. I just wondered if you had any feedback about the representation of the natives in the film, especially in the end.
Yeah.
It seems it's a bit problematic, maybe, that ending.
Yeah. I had one real screening of the film by the end of 2019. This was the only screening before the pandemic started and all these Zoom meetings. And I had this discussion. Was the first big discussion was this kind of racial stereotyping. But the idea was, I don't know if I got it right, to make it that over the top, to make the idea of racism just mock it. So it's the idea of how a stupid person sees the world, and it's so over the top. But I know it's in some places it's a bit more difficult than in other places. But I try to make it that much over the top that it's silly for every stereotype.
Yeah, I think if we showed it in Ottawa and there was a Q&A, I think it would get quite heated. But, the choice of the music was Bobby Vinton, I think. Did you
coming home soldiers?
Yeah. Did you have that song in mind, or is that something you looked for the perfect song?
I looked for some kind of pathetic old kind of westerns song, but actually I knew this song. I knew it from the end credits of an Austrian television series from the 70s. I heard it there before when I was a teenager, and I always thought I want to do something with this song, because it's so. You wouldn't make a song like this nowadays, I think, because all this is soldiers and coming back, and it's from it seems like from another time, and actually is from another time. And this was, and then I got later the idea of this Americans coming back, and thought these visuals and this music and this particular song will maybe make an interesting combination.
You managed to solve the copyright issues without problems for the music?
Yeah, it was quite a journey through EMI and Sony Music, because it was published by a label that doesn't exist anymore since the 70s. So it was quite hard in the end to find the copyright holder, but in the end we got it pretty cheap. Yeah.
Chris, why were you saying that if it would be screened in Ottawa, there would be because like with you the topic of native inhabitants, it's really kind of like political correctness, and it's brought to the top, huh?
It's a pretty big thing the last few years. I mean, to the point, as a comparison, Nikita, what's his name? Ugly, which won the grand prize in Ottawa a few years ago. There were some reactions to that film and the portrayal of Native American, even though it's, I think, a very sympathetic portrait, but it's a really hot issue. Yeah, because I could see that ending where it's like, well, what do you want to do? Oh, let's just look at our phones. I could see a lot of people being offended by that. But yeah, if you're putting it into perspective, it's like a Randy Newman song where it's
over the top. And
it's a character. So these are all through the eyes of an idiot.
It's like a Western European stupid person sees the world through the eyes of this person, but you don't actually see this person in the film, maybe.
But Benjamin, is it that
controversial in some places?
Is it that the German and Austrian people has a fascination with the American Wild West? And because I was traveling and then I saw like them coming back home with big cowboy hats on the and like having, why is that?
I think in Austria and Germany, it's not so much because of the American Westerns or the Italian Westerns. We have our own Westerns, the German Winnetou Westerns. They're, I think, a co-production with Croatia, yeah. And they're a French guy who's actually at the end, that's why at the end, one of the two native Indians speaks French, because it was Pierre Brice. He died some years ago. And he melted with this role of Winnetou, a very noble Indian. And it's based on books from, I think, end of 19th century of an author called Karl May, a German author. And he's I think he never left his town where he lived and wrote about the Wild West and about or the Middle East a lot. And it was the dream worlds for generations of I guess, German-speaking people, and also maybe in Croatia later. I don't know. You can ask Marko, because it was filmed everything was filmed in Croatia.
It has a cult status, and actually still like where it the scenes, the sets were, it's still preserved, and like people still they go there, and we remember. I remember as well from childhood.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about witty black humor, because I think that you are all about it, and by meaning you, it's the Neue Österreichische Trickfilm Productions. It's kind of like, it's really, this black humor is maybe your stamp, it's something there. Can an author without humor work at your studio, work with you, or why is this black humor type of stories that you push?
I don't know. So we are actually three guys who founded the studio. We all met in, because Neue Österreichische Trickfilms means New Austrian Cartoon. Yeah. But we all three met in Germany at the Filmakademie in Ludwigsburg, in southwest Germany. I don't know. I think we all have kind of the same kind of humor, a bit black, dark humor, and I think when somebody else wrote a story just without humor, it's maybe a bit hard for us. But actually, we also did projects with not much humor, let's put it that way. So it's also possible. But then there are dark films, of course.
Would you say for yourself that you have defined the visual style of yours, that maybe it was shaped by studying at Baden-Württemberg under Andreas Hikade and other great professors, or you develop it already before going there to study?
Yeah, it developed better with Andreas Hikade in Stuttgart, where I made my final film Heldenkanzler, about the not well-known fascist years in Austria before the Nazis took over, because nobody knew that it wasn't a free country anyway in the 30s. Yeah, I think I developed most of it in this film therefore I tried something also with 3D, but I'm now pretty chosen my format in 2D animation. But in every film I try a bit different style. Like, for instance, in this one, I tried to make it with the colors of the American flag, so red, white, and blue, and work with this. And also because I hadn't much time and much budget to keep it very simple. So it pretty much depends on how much time and money I have, how the final style of the film will look like.
Chris, is there?
I hope that, we're nearing the end of 2020, and I hope that's the last time I see Trump.
Yeah,
in a movie.
It's just so tiresome now.
Yeah, me too. I hope it's soon outdated.
But actually, Benjamin, you featured many superheroes, as well as like pop icons and sport people and even soldiers. I mean, the reference of the characters featured in your film is quite big, I would say. How did you choose those? It was an obvious choice, or you just improvised a little bit, or?
Yeah, most of the characters I think are in one shot on one of the ships. I think the Mayflower. I think, but actually. I took all the stuff that Austria knows about the United States, like that. So there are many superheroes and Donald Duck and whoever.
And then you had to put in Woody Allen too, another guy who's people don't like to talk about over here.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I thought about maybe where in Europe the descent of the people sometimes, like for Woody Allen, some people know. So I just choose it that way. Yeah, but and in some white shots I just draw what came in my mind. And what is recognizable very quickly.
I'd be curious to see what like the 70 million Trump voters would think if they watched the film.
Yeah,
how they'd react to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you put it online already, or are you waiting a little bit?
No, not at the moment. I'm thinking about what to do now when Trump is hopefully gone very soon. Because then the film maybe in 1 year has no meaning. I hope so. So maybe I will put it online soon. But now it's still on festivals and kind of semi-online or with at festivals. But I think I will put it online pretty soon. And then this is always an interesting thing when then the films really go online on YouTube or Vimeo. Then you really see what other people think about it that are not festival audience, which I had very much experience on my Heldenkanzler film, because it's a very, very controversial topic here in Austria. Nobody likes to talk about it, even if it's happened in 1933 before World War II, and it's still not, there's still no common sense about it. And when you then put it online on a video platform where you can comment and really see, there are people who really don't like it.
So it seems you really like to dig the history, to dig deep in the history and trying to find some things that maybe are taboo, or they are forgotten, or they are not so much known. Is it something that it interests you for future projects as well?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Also, I'm planning since I guess 10 years of a feature film project. And it's also about a very controversial topic. It's about the first filmmakers in Austria, and nobody talks about it because till the First World War, the first films that were produced in Austria or Austria-Hungary in the empire were pornographic movies. That's the only thing that came in their minds. And then later on in the 10 years, 1910s, then they started, shortly before the war, they started to forbid these movies, and then they started to make normal movies. And it's so
that's the beginning of Austrian cinema?
Yeah, exactly. The first public film production company. It's not what we see now as pornographic movies, but what you saw in 1900 as now would be erotic movies. Yeah, but it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
And
because there were rules for the cinema the first 10 years, because the Austrian bureaucracy was so slow, like it's for the internet now. For 10 or 12 years, they didn't know, they had no rules because it was so slow for this new medium of film, so everything was possible. And then finally they had it in the through the parliament or whatever, or signed by the emperor, and then everything.
But are those films preserved? There are some
of them. 50. They're very short. 50 films are preserved. And the second interesting thing is that first a real film director from Austria was a woman who made the real first film. Also, nobody knows about it, and she also takes a role.
And do you think it's possible in Austria to put up a budget for feature animated films, or you will go and you are in search for co-producers, maybe in Germany and other countries?
It's still in the final stadium of screenplay, but it's very, very hard. At the moment, there's no Austrian feature film. There's one very big in production, which will come out, I guess, after the pandemic. They wait for it. It's the very first. It's a 3D movie about a very famous artist in Austria, but it's not the most animation friendliest country, it has not such a big animation history like the Franco-Belgian countries, or also the Eastern European countries like Croatia, or that they all have more animation history.
Yeah, but it's better and better in Austria as well, because like with this innovative film and the experimental film scene is slowly embracing the animation as well, I would say, right?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a big experimental film tradition, or not tradition, but since the 70s, 80s it evolved, and it's a certain style in Austria.
Okay, Benjamin, thank you very much for this intro talk.
Thanks.
And we are moving to Georgia, and we will talk to the producer of the film Abandoned Village in Georgian, Mitovebuli Sofeli. Correct?
Great.
But Maryam, Kandelaki, please let me first introduce Mariam Kapanaze, the director with the short biography. So Mariam Kapanaze was born in Georgia in 1991. In 2012, she graduated from the Maski University with a degree in film directing. In 2013, until present, she is an actress at the Georgian State Hand Shadow Theater, Budrugana Gagra. And Abandoned Village is her directorial debut in animation. Is it correct? It's her first film.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So now let me introduce you as well. Okay.
Okay.
Mariam Kandelaki, an animation director, producer, educator, and animation and documentary film studio Kvali 21 founder, Hand Shadow Theater Budrugana Gagra manager, International Animation Film Festival Nicosia organizer. Kvali 21 was founded in 1982. The most significant award for the studio was for the short film Plaque, recognized as best short film at the 1984 Cannes Film Festival. Their animation production, The Pocket Man, made in 2017, is the first Georgian-French animation co-production and has won 23 international awards and been invited to 155 different festivals. Everything correct?
Just one correction, may I? So the company Kvali 21 was founded by my father in 1980. So it's just one correction. Everything else is absolutely correct. Yes.
Perfect. So we hear for you actually that you are, let's say, the person where animation in Georgia stays and falls. Like you are really keeping the scene alive through many activities. So how come that you are so much fascinated and you decided that to enter to this world and keep developing Georgian animation?
So it started from my childhood. So as I told, my father, Kandelaki, he's director and producer, and he founded the animation company in 1980. So I grew up kind of in this animation scene, very small, tiny scene, but we have some kind of industry there. And I was like with 15, I started already to do in-betweens on some films. So I just learned everything from scratch. Yeah, so as a child. So, and I even don't remember when I decided to become an animation director. So I studied art and then film directing animation faculty. So it's like this. And I decided, because I'm based in Berlin in Germany, and I used to work in big companies here and in Holland. And so I tried to bring my experience to Georgia. And we founded a festival there. This year we had to have 11th edition, but because of Corona we postponed it. And this year we made online already the 6th edition with the French producer and Annecy Festival of the workshop, which I'm doing every year. And So we are giving pitching trainings and project development workshops, and so then the best project we bring to Annecy and we promote it. And so it was the same in 2015 with the Pocketman. So we brought this winner project to Annecy, and then we found the co-producer, Studio Folimage there, and Nadazi Films. So we had good connections, and we had possibility to bring young debut artists to Western Europe and make the good quality, like Western quality of animation.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Mariam Kapanaze, the director, and her way of animating? How you met, and actually, how did you trust her to direct her first animated film?
So she's an actress by Hand Shadow Theater, which is also founded by my father. So the first Shadows was created in my kitchen at my home. So, and now it's a theater with a great history. And Maryam came in a few years ago as an actress. So and then she brought this idea in 2017. So we started to support her idea to develop in Film Studio Quali, and we have also Film Center Georgian Film Abkhazia. And so then there was a call from Georgian National Film Center in Georgia. So that's the only institution which supports filmmakers with only funding, so to say. And we got for the development a little money. I mean, it's like 2,500 euros, so it's really nothing. But because in a company, so we have different artists, and we could support Mariam, so we helped her to develop, and we invited very interesting artistic director. Also, it was his first film, and for this artist, and then we applied for the production, so we were financed as well in 2018. So it took a long time, and especially now in pandemic time, luckily we had finished animation, and since March we worked then on sound remotely, like online, but we managed to finish in August. Yes.
But so the initial idea to make a film about a village as a human being, which is born out of love, as the synopsis said, that was Mariam's, the director. She brought it to you, or?
Yeah, she traveled in the mountains, and she has seen some village there. So from the area where she was as a young girl, visited grandma, and the idea came from her, and then we developed together, and so so it just her emotions and her stories we put together and made the script. Yes.
Okay, Chris?
Well, I don't know how much I can ask specifically about the film.
You can ask. I was involved, okay. So you can ask.
It's interesting. All four of these films somehow are dealing with absence or making the invisible visible in some way. I just noticed that. That's it. How much time is supposed to have passed during the like how many days or years or months?
It's up to you, so up to audience. So it can be in one day, it can be 10 years. So it's kind of metaphor, yeah. So there is no real time in this film. So it can happen in one day in mountains that everything is changing, like there is a storm or there is a rain or there is a sun coming or something, and or one can decide that it's like ages because you can hear the sound of lively village, like life in the village, which is reminding you that here some years ago, some decades ago, there was a life, yeah. So and now we see that it's quite empty, yeah? So and then yeah, so it could be like 50 years or 200 years. So it's up to spectator. So
it's interesting. I read it as a place that, well, had been abandoned, that everybody's gone.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just love that ending when the light comes on, and then you can just see a figure pass by that, you know, there's hope here of life starting again. I thought that was a really nice, subtle way to end it.
Yes, so it's like this village is like an eternal struggle between the light and darkness, as well as life is like life and death. Yeah, so and we wanted to not to leave the spectator with like hopeless feeling, and so this small light gives this feeling that it continues. So
there is not only light, there is also smoke coming out from the chimney. So it's like I was asking myself as well, who is living in that house? So who is that? Is it an old lady, or it's a...
Yeah, in the beginning we had the character who was coming out, and so you could see that there is an old man living there, but then we rejected, and then it was just the symbol, this light and the shadow in the window and the smoke, which speaks about that there is somebody. So
was finding the ending a challenge, or was that something obvious at the beginning?
It was from the beginning obvious, yes. Yes.
So what was the most challenging part of the whole
the most challenging was to do the animation, because it's very fragile work. So it's we had like 6 animators, and the artist was also very much involved, and he made like 38 real drawing backgrounds, so real with the colors, and then the animation was done in computer. So it was to find the technology to bring this idea to audience was quite challenging. So we had like pre-production was very important, and we were searching for which kind of technique we would use and how. So that was quite challenging. Therefore it took like 3 years and to make this film. So
did you in terms of the soundtrack, did you know from the beginning again that this was going to be a very quiet film, or did you try different sounds?
We tried different sounds. We tried even a bit music, like composer with some kind of pieces, but then we stayed only with the sound. Yeah. So we had the young sound artist who was suggesting, and also the director Maryam. So she went to the mountains and she was recording herself the silence of villages and the sounds, and so then we combined everything in the end. So what we needed.
But Mariam, if I understand correctly, the director, Mariam Kandelaki, she...
no, Kapanaze.
Kapanaze, sorry. Yeah. She didn't neither draw, neither animate.
No, okay. She I think next time she will learn. Yes.
But that's why then you had to hire also this artistic producer, that his role was very important, right? As you were saying, like all the backgrounds. Well, what was the exact task of the artistic producer?
Artistic director, you mean?
Artistic director, yeah.
Yeah. So he was drawing storyboard and backgrounds and all the props. I mean, we didn't use anymore the props afterwards, but he was doing all the drawings. And we had the animation supervisor, which played also a big role. And so she was supervised because she made the first tries and tests, and then she told who had to scratch the picture or who had to draw this picture, or so there were different kind of techniques.
Mm-hmm. But so there were some photographic references as well, or some video shots? No, not at all.
No, not really. No. So it was just an imagination of this artistic director. Yeah. So this artist. So to say.
Yeah. For you as a creative producer, because the creative producer is the one really following from beginning to the end, is not only taking care about the money, but is really deeply involved with each project, right? And this is how you work, I guess. And also having the experience in the documentary film, is it maybe that it makes you think that even a documentary film will be a good maybe chance to shoot in those, because those villages, I think if I'm not correct, is in Georgia's west. It's in the province, Upper Imereti, no province, which is. So you think to shoot a documentary there with showing the real situation would make sense?
Okay, one correction. So the documentary filmmaker is my father, so Kandelaki. So what you read, it was about my father. Okay. And actually he made the 3 hours film, like 2 hours and 40 minutes. So he traveled around Georgia, and he had like 100 hours material footage, and then he edited to 3 hours. So it's quite interesting documentary about Georgia. It's not about Georgia, it's about human beings. So it's so I can send you the copy if you want.
Please, I'm really interested, because I think that like those regions, they are completely out of the map. They are far away, and actually nature is talking, like you really showed it in your film, like those sounds, the background sounds where we can hear the ambient, the nature. No, it's something that probably it could work well on documentary form as well, I would say. I don't know.
Yes, it is. So with Georgia, the problem is it's in the middle of Europe and Asia. I mean, problem in Klamas. And if you have European map, you have half Georgia. If you have Asian map, then you have another half of Georgia. So you need to find a special map for Georgia to see where there is. Yeah, so, and so it's quite interesting country.
I really. Yeah, please go.
Just in terms of the running time, how did you settle on this time? Because it could have been shorter. It could have been. I mean, you could have gone on and on in some ways with this.
Yeah, that's. I think this is quite personal to director, and so it's like breathing, and each human has his own tempo of breathing. So it's and the dramaturgy. So she had the main keys, so to say, and then main points, and then after animation was done, then we could see how long it could be. So we had no deadlines like in timing, or I mean, we were very free in this. Yeah, so it could be when we entered the Georgian National Film Center, it was like 9 minutes, then 12 minutes, and then it became 14 minutes. So it's very free. So
and it must be frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating for everybody this year on every level. And especially for filmmakers not getting into big screens. But this is a film in particular that really needs the big screen.
Yes.
I mean, you can just pick a frame and watch one corner of it for 14 minutes, you know? So that must be a bit frustrating.
Yes, yeah. So that's really for the big screen, and we have except festivals, we have negotiations with the galleries that it will be shown as an installation. So it's interesting so there are some galleries in France who are interested. So we'll see.
In the same form, or you will then for galleries, if it will go there, you will just screen it on the wall, or you will prepare some
no, it will be it will be same form, and the people can hear it with headphones, or it depends on the gallery how they present this installation, so to say.
Okay, maybe for the end, proper producer question. What was the budget of the film, Mariam?
The budget was 70,000 euro. So, and from the Georgian National Film Center, we got 30,000, and the rest was our own from the company. So we invest in this film.
Okay, thank you very much. Give our regards to the director as well, and say thank you for a beautiful film. I would take the chance what Chris said. for next year Animateka, hopefully it will happen in the cinemas, and I want to re-show it in the cinemas properly.
Oh, that's a great news. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's our European premiere at your festival, so thank you. Thank you very much. And I have one suggestion. So today is Walt Disney's birthday, so we have to drink for him as well.
Who? For Disney?
Walt Disney's birthday is today, so
I'm not sure I can do that.
But we drink to we drink to
Mine's
Georgian
empty.
animation. Okay, we drink to authorial animation. Disney as a forefather. We could spend like hours to talk about his good and his bad choices. But yeah, let's remember all the dead animators through this cheer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you so much.
And let's go to Croatia. Let's go to Zagreb. Let's go to Marko Tadić and his events meant to be forgotten. And Marko, I will read the biography first. So Marko Tadić's artistic practice is in drawing, installation, and animation. In 2017, he represented Croatia at the 57th Venice Biennale. His filmography, Moving Elements 2016, Until a Breath of Air 2014, Born by the Birds 2013, We Used to Call It Moon 2011, and I Speak True Things in 2009. I'm really happy that we screened the majority of your films at our festival. And I would, let me just read also the synopsis, because I think it's a good start for a discussion. So, events meant to be forgotten, filmed on a 16mm camera. This film uses archival materials and a poem by Hans Magnus Enzensberger to speak. Enzensberger, yeah?
Enzensberger, yeah.
Yes, to speak of forgotten people, their lives and their deeds. Two archives were found on a flea market in Zagreb, one of a famous architect and the other of a famous composer. The film ponders on this occurrence as well as on the vanishing and forgetfulness of humans. That's a synopsis that you wrote, that you came up with?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's start at the beginning, probably. So I guess the idea for this film grew inside you after you found those photos at the Zagreb's flea market. Have you researched which concrete places are on those photos, or it doesn't matter? Or how did you find that they are photos from the archives of a composer and an architect?
Because the Vojtech Delfin is used to be a famous architect in Yugoslavia in the 70s. He was even an editor of the Arhitektura magazine, which was the most famous magazine for architecture in Yugoslavia. And I got from the flea market, I got this IKEA paper bag filled with photos and stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And so when I was digging through all these photos, you know, it was quite interesting. And I found the passports and their IDs and everything was inside. And then I Googled who this was, because I found some photos of some architectural studio and some models. And then I Googled him, and there was almost nothing about him online, you know, like really just few informations. And then I asked around, because I have some friends who are art historians and architects, and they told me that he was indeed famous. And then and that was one of the first kind of things that got to me. It was like, how is it possible, you know, for somebody that was like so famous and such a like a prominent figure in like the 60s, 70s, and the 80s? Like, how is it possible for him to completely disappear, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the same was more or less with this composer, you know. I got all the photos, everything came from even his phonotech, you know, with all these like discs and everything I have here, you know, magnetic tapes. And then I started to dig, and it was just after my exhibition at the Vienceslav Ritter house, who is a utopian architect. And then I was really into utopian architecture, and still am. And then I discovered that Delfin was also dealing with these utopian projects in architecture. He created these, and actually the photos in the film are the models of this floating city on the sea, because Delfin was from Split, from Sparta, you know, and he created these floating cities on the sea surface, you know, and it's just, so basically this kind of immediately exploded in my mind, because it combined this melancholy, you know, forgetfulness, and these like events meant to be forgotten, and this part of utopian architecture, you know, this like very humanistic approach to architecture that is rooted almost in science fiction, you know?
And the poem, then actually, like, you found the poem that
Enzensberger, yeah, it's amazing, you know. I'm a big fan of Enzensberger, and I knew Enzensberger from before, and it just, you know, it comes with age, probably, you know, like certain things fit at a certain time, you know, and in certain moments. And actually, we recorded audio of a few short stories by Thomas Bernhardt, you know, that was supposed to be the sound of the, and then I had this 2 poems by Enzensberger, and when I had this, my friend was recording we were recording his voice, and I said, like, could you please read these 2 as well? I just want to have it. Yeah. And then in the end, after all, like, we tried a million times, and it just didn't work with Thomas Bernhardt. So in the end, I put Enzensberger, and it was just perfect. You know? Completely changed the nature of the film, what we applied, but still, it's just kind of, it's just right there, you know.
I have one more, Chris, and then I leave it to you.
You already asked my questions. So.
Well, you too, as well. Yes. Marko, at the beginning and at the very end of the film, we see you hidden beside a semi-transparent paper or material, like probably color plexi or something, glass, and you are drawing in your style, which you draw as well on the photos, and in your distinctive style. But then you're drawing an object, and is it a machine, or what represents this object?
It's some kind of like a futuristic landscape of a city. You know, I'm kind of channeling these utopian architects. You know, and the interesting thing is, it's very kind of like free-flowing drawing. You know, if people notice, you know, it's just like non-stop drawing, kind of something between. It's like really channeling these almost utopian ideas. You know, these like spaces up below, intertwining, one entering the other, and so. And then we go to this archival material. You know.
Okay. Chris?
So I wanted to include this kind of thinking through drawing, you know, like kind of, you know, this like visual language.
It's interesting. I thought it all started from the poem. That was my first guess, that was what inspired it all. But
no, it's basically all my films are based. Are kind of have like the atmosphere, and everything is rooted in literature. And Enzensberger came from Sebald, and Sebald came from this, and from Berger, from Thomas Bernhardt, because it's my kind of like the literature that I like, and it's all very kind of melancholic, you know, like talks about history and the recent history of the 20th century and our recent history here, because this film also deals with this kind of switch. How is it possible to forget, to erase a person like that? And actually the answer is the war and the 90s, you know, that erased everything that was labeled Yugoslavian, you know. So that's all the mix. And this kind of poems, especially The Vanished, I found it in this moment and time of age, with the pandemic and with the immigrants coming through Croatia as well, you know, kind of like a multi-layered, you know, that you can read it on many layers. That's why The Vanished, I see them at the beginning with the photos of the composer, with the trains. It's everything from modern immigrants, you know, hanging below trains to travel between countries, to transports of Jews during the Second World War, transports of Yugoslavian workers to Germany and other countries, you know. So this is kind of, and especially now with the immigrants, and then finally with the COVID-19, all these like vanished people, like they were vanishing in thousands a day, you know, especially in Italy and in Europe, you know. So this vanished part with this poem becomes significant on at least 5 levels, literally, you know. And then you have also the personal kind of level, you know, that you can kind of relate just to this poem. So that's why I wrote in the intro to the film is that they work together, you know. It's like 2 parts, you know. It's not that the film was made for the poem or the poem was adapted to the film. It's just like these like 2 things that parallelly work together, you know.
The visual, the imagery in the film, everything you're using, did that come out of this big IKEA bag? And what, how much was left? How much did you use out of it? And how do you decide what's going to fit? And
he will show us.
I've offended him now. He's just left.
Yeah, this like, makes no sense. So this is the rest, you know. This is like one life. This is what's left.
Wow.
And it's quite because I work in my practice. I work a lot with archives, with materials, everything. Like there's like thousands of photos here in boxes, and that's why my preoccupation is kind of like Miroslav Balkan. It's kind of dark, not dark, but melancholical, you know, because you find all these lives on flea markets, you know, and everything is image based, you know. I get so many Kodak slides in one box, and I start with this family, and the girl is 3 years old, and they are in San Francisco, you know, and then it ends. She's 40 something, and the parents are, you know, vanished, you know, something. So this, it's you know, it's kind of fascinating, you know, and you kind of, it's like sad and fascinating at the same time, and it's just life, you know, and that's what
Marko,
it's in my opinion.
Did you try to research and try to find maybe some family members of the architect? Or,
yeah,
and
I did. Yeah, I tried to find them through Facebook and through other friends, and I'm just on the kind of like the verge to getting to the composer's family, you know. But the very few people are still alive or care, you know, because about Wojtek Delfin, the architect, nobody ever answered my messages.
Okay, how was it to work with the 16mm camera? Nowadays, it's probably already a museum artifact, and I would say that young directors, they would not understand how to switch it on. But for you, it's like, was it like it's a fetish, or why you decided you wanna shoot on 16?
I don't know. For me, it's all the same, you know. But I had this wish to work with the 16mm camera because I'm a big fan of film, you know, and I use a lot of image-related ideas in my other works, you know, in my art works, you know. And I deal with like the image and the material of the film and the choice of the motive and everything, you know. It's I'm kind of fascinated with all this, how and why and where and when, and the first films and the last films and the Austrian porn from Austro-Hungarian, you know, like I really love this material of film. And this was the perfect moment that I can work with the 16mm. We had the Electrobolex camera. And it's just amazing. The process is pretty much the same, and but like the outcome when you see it the first time when it comes, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Okay, Chris, last question, if it comes for you.
Oh, that last question was yours already. We're really in sync as we're going. No, you're saying, you know, it must be a bit of a melancholy process going through this, but in the end, it's I think it's somehow a very uplifting thing. You're kind of resuscitating these dead voices and presence from the past. So that's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, they asked me, like, because the method of animations on many of these photos is I etch away the original photo, you know. Mm. And then somebody asked me, like, don't you feel bad that you are ruining, you know, like these photos, you know? And I got them from trash, you know. I got them from the flea market. So this is some kind of sublimation of the material and of this, you know. I always name the people if I know their names, you know. So this is kind of like sublimating their lives, you know, kind of like bringing them back to life through art, you know, and animation, film. Mm.
You're a Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what I said many times. I'm Dr. Frankenstein of.
Thank you, Marko.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Let's go to Petja, Zlateva, actually waiting there. And I thought we will be finished in a smooth way, but you see, like when there are so many interesting topics to discuss. So Petja Zlateva graduated in 2011 from the New Bulgarian University in animation directing. Since 2007, she has been working on various Bulgarian and foreign animation projects. Currently, she works as an animator at Sugar Shack Animation, which has offices in Miami, Los Angeles, and Sofia, as well as other projects as a freelance animator and director. It's correct, the biography? Did we?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so tasks of the day. It's a part of a wider project. The film is based on also based on a poem, Task of the Day by Stefan Ivanov, and it's part of an animated poetry collection, Mark and Verse, a project run by Kompot Collective and Vesela Dancheva, the producer.
Yes.
So have you chosen this poem, or it was given to you by the producers?
No, each director. So it is a collection of 6 animation shorts, mm-hmm. and all of them done by 6 different directors, and each of them had to choose by himself the poem itself. Mm-hmm. So I chose the poem.
Okay. The main heroine is in your film. Is it a wolf or a fox? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, not to be sure what it is. Just a creature.
Okay. But okay, so the main heroine, Wooks. Maybe we could call her Wooks. No, half wolf, half fox.
Sure.
She lives alone, but suddenly some ghost animals are invited for a dinner. And we found out that they are ghosts only at the end. How did you interpret this poem when you first read it? So it was, did you have immediately like the visuals in your head, or you had to read it and reread it and reread it again in order to visualize it?
Yeah, I had images popping right after the first reading. I didn't came out with the whole script and the story at once, but having images in my head instantly helped me to choose the poem very quickly. So yeah, that's how it started. And then because I liked it because it's quite specific, like a text. So I thought this could help me to build up something around it. So that's how the ghosts appeared one by one.
I really like your drawing style. I think it's smooth and strong at the same time. So I'm asking myself, have you ever made classical drawn animation before, not using the digital pen?
No, yeah, I am from the last lucky ones who studied quite a lot traditional animation. Like we had 3 years in university, and we had very good old style teacher to teach us this.
Okay. But this one was made in 2D computer animation.
Yes.
So did you try to find like the most feasible tool or software that will bring us closer to your style of animation? And what did you use?
Well, I used what feels more natural to me because I wanted to focus on the scenes or on the execute the film itself and not thinking about technical stuff. That's how I chose to do.
So you draw on a tablet with a digital pen?
Yes, graphic tablet and 2D software.
Okay, Chris?
Just to go back to the context of it all with this poetry project, like how many poems were presented? Was there a pool of poems you had to choose from, or you just could go out and get whatever you wanted?
Yeah, it had only one specification, that the poem should be like issued, officially issued, like
published.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So and we had some suggestions from Veselo. She had some friends from literature. I don't know what it is, like a collective of writers, and they gave us names, and then we were free to look at everything we want. So I read a lot of poetry before I chose. A lot. It was like months of reading poems.
And what really resonated for you about this poem in particular that made you want to turn this into a film or devote some life to it?
Firstly, I like the author himself, because I liked a lot another little poem that he wrote, but it was very, very short, and I thought this maybe won't work, because we had in mind to do like a about 3 minutes film, and it was like 2 lines. And I thought probably it won't work. I didn't have instant idea what could I do with this text. And then I dig more into his works. And I already liked him quite a lot, so this one. But yeah, it seemed a little bit instantly very intuitive. I got these images with those characters, and they didn't change much from the first impression I had.
And all of this was finished, I assume, before the pandemic started?
Oh yeah, it was done
2019.
Summer 2019, last year.
Because I think you couldn't have anticipated, but I think it takes on another meaning too, another level in the pandemic time.
Yes,
we're all experiencing this to some degree.
Yeah, that's weird.
So is this what did you call it? A wick? A wool?
Wooks.
Is this somebody who's I don't know, just lonely, shy, or is there mental illness here? Is there some addiction? She's just out of her mind? I don't know. All of it?
All of it. Yeah, I wanted to leave it as wide as possible. So that's why I didn't want it to be a person, a human. And yeah, so it could be a lonely person that never had none of those ghosts in her life, just wishes to have them, or could be like an old lady and having them lost over the years as well. Because the poem suggested more like this kind of interpretation.
Do you ever allow yourself to imagine where this character is going after the screen goes black?
Yeah. I think she cleans up and the next day repeats like yeah.
Petja, what about the mackerel with the walnuts and so? This was not in the poem, I guess. Huh?
It is. It
is really.
It is. Yeah. And
great.
Stefan explained that he had a very tiring and long renovation of his home. So that's why he got the idea of the poem. So that's how he wrote it.
Mm-hmm. So you met the
poet
as well, the writer Stefan Ivano. So you met him before you started to animate, maybe just to talk with him a little bit more, or no?
I think I met him when I had the storyboards, so I showed it to him, and and then I was okay for him to tell me his story, because I didn't want to be messed up with this. I wanted my own version.
Did he give you feedback to seeing the finished film?
Yeah, he liked it.
Okay, Chris, do you have some more?
No.
No. Okay. So I would just ask Petja at the end. Can you make a living being a freelance animator in Bulgaria? And I'm really interested. What kind of projects are you doing with the Sugar Shack Animation Studios?
That's a good question. Well, it's not easy. I do my freelance work more to have more pleasure as an artist, because what I do in the animation studio is more of a commercial dry, commercially suggested like things, then don't give you some freedom to be creative, or it's more technical thing, but at least it's something close to your profession, so it's good enough.
But do you have a strong story that you have a strong story that you would like to make one day? Are you searching for a story that you would animate, your personal one, or a authorial one at least?
Oh yeah. I'm right now in the middle of something else, but then probably I want to go back to doing films like this.
Okay, great. So yeah, it's really a sad moment when we have to say goodbye, but goodbye for real. I would really like to thank my co-host Chris Robinson for his telepathic energy, like for sharing same questions with me all the time. Next year, Chris, we will do it live, so it will be much easier because we will hear each other asking on time, or maybe we'll check on this. I would really like to thank you all for participating. Thank you for your time and your energy. Tomorrow we are having a closing ceremony at 8 o'clock live from the Animateka platform channel, so we see who got the awards, but for me this is not so much important. You all are awarded, or would be awarded if I would have the chance to give you the awards, because like you're all making great films. But this is still not the end. We will have 2 more sessions tomorrow at 3 o'clock and Monday at 3 o'clock with authors from the animated documentary programs, and as well tomorrow at 5 o'clock we will talk with the directors and the producer of the French hybrid feature Zero Impunity. And to conclude, on Monday at 5 o'clock I'm really happy that I will talk live with Dalibor Baric, and we will discuss his experimental feature film debut. It was almost like a one-man band production, and we will hear how also this is possible, not only huge production. If you have a heart and you have an idea and you have a wish to tell stories, you can do it however is the situation. So thank you again. Have a nice evening, have a nice Saturday night, have a nice long sleep tomorrow, which is Sunday, and see you all next year, or in 2 years, or in 3 years live in Ljubljana. I have to promise you will come. Yes. So we are making this situation up. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Bye.